these diseases that people get are not easy, and they're complex. And so a community can do things that are very complex in terms of meeting people's needs. Working with the reality and accepting the reality of those illnesses will get elected officials much further along in good policy making than if they keep talking about the morality issue or the lack of responsibility, sort of all these terms that are misinforming the public and misinforming themselves about the nature of the issue, what they're looking at. These are folks where, you know, the poor choice and the bad responsibility happened decades ago. These are people who are full on board in a cycle that disciplining them, handing them out tickets and citations is really nonsensical and a great big waste of the taxpayers' money. In this community, we did a one-night count. Across the nation, they do a one-night count. We did a one-night count. We ended up being 62% of our homeless, people who technically without their own homes, are unsheltered, which puts us at 35th in the nation for all these counties. So that's a crazy ranking. Everyone who has a worse ranking than us, many of them are in much warmer climates. So we've made a mistake in terms of approach somehow along the way. And we're not alone. There's other towns that have done this too. But clearly it's something we need to reprioritize and fix. You know, the community is willing, and right now to put a program structure in place takes way more time than these folks who are living hour by hour, night by night. So in the meantime, you have an emergency response. And so that's what we're asking for. It's like, let's have the appropriate emergency response to the circumstance. I think part of the reason that people haven't been served in this manner is resources, but also it's stigma. And there's just that cultural disconnect around understanding the people who are afflicted and a humane response to that. People are fearful of people who are homeless. I mean, they're fearful of people who have mental illness, and they might have a lot of history around why they're upset about someone being an addict. And I appreciate that. I do too. It's frustrating, you know. And some of the implications of someone doing street drugs and breaking the law, I appreciate their distress at that and their opposition to trying to help someone who's going to continue to use. But if they leave to the experts who know about treating people with addiction, how to deal with the addiction part, and they take care of their first part, which is let's get a coalition together, an emergency response together, and it would be great if whatever the city can bring to the table, whether it's use of property, whether it's some of their professional services for getting the logistics coordinated, bringing the county to the table, you know, whatever it takes to build the coalition to do this emergency step, then let's do it. Let's not drag our feet because someone's behavior is offensive. This is a mismatch, you know.
What is the emergency response that you're looking for?
Well, being able to have camps that look like Whoville Sanctuary. Right now they're suggesting rest stops that only have 15 people at them. But Whoville Sanctuary, there is sort of a good sized population for managing the operation of the camp, in addition to all these extra obligations of taking care of people. So it's more like 30 or 40 people. That's more of the ideal size. I mean, if you're looking at a group of people who are functioning well, high functioning addicts, honestly, you know, or high people with mental illness or conditions or stress disorder, right, from just living on the street, who are pretty high functioning, then all right, maybe a rest stop of 15 works great. But when you're looking at some of the folks that we're trying to do outreach to who are really active in their, in their use and their addiction behaviors, then yeah, having a larger community, more people to do the operations of the camp and do the caregiving, this makes more sense to have a larger size. And there's been resistance on behalf of the city. There, I understand. I completely understand. It's kind of it's a tricky population to work with, but that life's messy. What can we say? Problems get complex and life's messy, and sometimes you have to make up an approach that isn't tidy. Emergencies are not tidy.
Councilor Clark, he suggested a more private approach that would rely on citizens around Eugene offering up spots on their property for homeless people to camp on, and kind of utilizing those resources instead of the government's. Can you kind of address your thoughts on such a proposal?
That has been happening for many years. Councilor Clark should be well aware that that's where many homeless people are right now. I've housed many homeless. I've housed 3 different situations where I've housed homeless people. I have many friends who have housed homeless people, not since Occupy, over the past decades. That's what people do in this community. They do step forward. They do provide housing. It's insufficient. Also, when you have a group of people that have fallen through the safety net's broken. It's time to fix the safety net.